When I was about 14 years old, I watched a friend of mine's dad pull out his revolver and shoot his own dog right in the head. Dead right there on the spot. And 40 plus years later, reflecting on that, I view it quite differently rather than the horror that I had back then. I started this 3-part series talking about a cornerstone and how important that foundation is to everything. And I'm going to explain to you why politicians and corporations are kicking the church's butt. And why, as churches and believers and as people, we need to be a little quicker to take care of problems. Now, I'm not saying the church needs to operate like a corporation, but every godly principle that's out there, whether it's inside of a church, whether it's inside of a marriage, whether it's inside of how you handle your finances, or whether it's inside of a woke corporation, the principles of God will always work. That's why I think Trump has been so successful. I don't think Trump's a godly man, but I don't know. That's from an outside perspective. But he has been very philanthropic. He's given away millions of dollars. We've seen Elon Musk and those types of people do the same things. Are there tax benefits to that? Yes. But there is a principle of giving and receiving. You shouldn't give in order to make yourself receive. But it's a principle. Godly principles work. And so I've had the chance the past 5 years to watch something unfold on a level that has been very disturbing to me. And it's made the reality of what corporations do and what politicians do, why they are so successful, and why the church today is failing in its ignorance and its inability to deal with problems. And so I'm going to take Anheuser-Busch, and I'm going to take, I hate to take Disney and Anheuser-Busch. If you love Disney, sorry, Disney's woke. But I have worked in the entertainment business. I worked for Busch Gardens. I worked for Anheuser-Busch years ago. So I have a little bit of experience there with the corporate culture. I have a lot of more experience the last 25 years watching church culture and how people deal with things. And the foundational principles that are there, the cornerstones which corporations and churches are built off of, will ultimately lead to its failure, its demise, or its long-term success. And here's what corporations do that is so successful. When they have their bottom line affected by a decision that they have made, they are pretty quick to come in and rectify the situation. If a board member has lied or been dishonest or leaked secrets, that board member is removed. If you go rogue on an advertising campaign like the Dylan Mulvaney thing, and you decide to go completely woke without approval or something that you need to follow the corporate direction and it affects their bottom line, you will be removed. We've seen that happen with Anheuser-Busch. Well, listen, we've seen that happen with Disney. Disney has removed the CEO that came out with woke-type campaigns that was completely placating the left, and I don't know why. That's 0.6% of the people in the United States, but that's what they did. And so they rectified the situation. They brought in somebody who was willing to cut out the bad stuff and go back to the cornerstone foundations of Disney. Now, I'm not going to get into the last couple of decades of Disney because there's a lot more problems there, but the general cornerstone type foundation information is still there. And here's what I have witnessed recently, and it's not the first time. This is my third time being involved in something like this over the last, many more years, over the last 43 years. I have watched churches become their own demise because they are unwilling to cut out the cancer. And I'm going to put some scriptures below. And listen, this applies in your own life. Like this applies in your family, which I have some things I need to deal with in my family. This applies to every aspect of life. The foundation with which you protect your family, the foundation for which you learn and prepare for whatever's coming down the road, preparing your heart, preparing your soul, preparing yourself in the Word. All those things are the foundation of who you need to be. And so recently, last 5 years, I've watched as a local congregation, a local church has been its own demise. And so what's happened is there has been infidelity, there's been alcohol use when somebody agreed not to use alcohol, there has been drug abuse when people have agreed not to do drugs and agreed. That's just like a no-brainer, right? And so what the church has done is typical of the church. They've come in and they've tried to kind of gloss it over, cover it up, see if it was okay, rather than saying, hey, we care about you, we want to support you, you made a mistake. Because of this, you've invalidated yourself in leadership, you can no longer be here, but we still want to help you. Like, that's what the church is supposed to do. It's supposed to be a healing place. It's supposed to be a place where you literally, you take the downtrodden, you take the people that are lost, and if you let them continue in your sin, that's not love. If you let them continue in their sin, really that is a ticket straight to hell, because they think that's okay and you're signing off on it. And so the church, a lot of times, in their compassion, is unwilling to cut out the cancer and cut out the sin and just say, hey, this is wrong, this is sin. And the same thing has repeated itself again, and it will continue in perpetuity if the leadership is not willing to take action against those responsible for the current state of the way things are. So we've watched thousands of people be affected by this. We've watched hundreds of families over the years be affected by this. We've watched as the church is unwilling to take a godly approach to dealing with things that, quite honestly, politicians, not all politicians, I even hate to bring them in, but politicians and corporations, if something is going against the grain of what they want to accomplish, they will axe you. Now, axing someone is not hatred inside the church. You can do it and be loving and be kind. But I want to caution you. And I'm going to put 3 scriptures below that will help with this. But I want to caution you. We are told that the word is for training and reproof. We are told that leadership that is evil must be done away with. We are actually told to take violent acts against people who are evil. And that is if evil is not willing to be dealt with. So if you come in and you're going to be the new leader, and you say, it's okay, we've had 30 years of the same leadership here, but I'm different from the last leadership. I can fix this. I can mold them to be who I need them to be, and we can take a different route. I think that is the epitome of arrogance, and it's not God's word. My friend's dad, who pulled out his revolver and shot his pit bull in the head, did it because the dog he had had for a year. I remember the dog. Right? He used to ride in the back of the truck. Sometimes going down the road, you see this white pit bull hanging out the back of the truck or sitting on the toolbox in the back of the truck. And he was not a friendly dog. But the minute that dog bit the owner, Ken Harsey, great man. He just passed away this past year, in fact. I think Ken was 88. Love that man. Ken pulled out his revolver and shot his own dog in the head and said, a dog that bites its owner in its nature is going to be a dog that bites you. Something to that effect. You need to consider that. Once something has been that way a very long time, the nature of those people and those leaders, in my humblest opinion, is not going to change. They need to be dealt with lovingly and kindly. They need to be removed. And the self-righteousness of somebody who thinks they can change the nature of the dog that will bite you, especially when there's been such a history of failures, that's a shame. That's a shame to try to overcome that. Hey, I hope this makes sense to you. And look, as you protect your family, as you think about the things that you need to do, take quick action. Take actionable items that will help protect you, your family, not only your spirit, your mind, your body, but those around you. That's valuable information, I think. Have a great day. Hey, like and subscribe.